The movement of Pacquiao keeping him happy and close.
Manny Pacquiao never fails to surprise me with what he brings to the table. It's always a little better than I thought.
The biggest win of his career. And a huge right hand from Ugas. With that jab. Yet again, and a good hook. Threw Ugas off balance, and he might have stunned him there. Now Barrios back to the body, and then connects on the left cross. Stuns Ugas. Ugas. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Look at me. Samir, you all right?
Pacquiao beat and positioned a lot of fighters with his feet and his movement. He has a dance rhythm when he attacks his target.
Ojalá que no sea, yo creo y voy a que gana Manny Pacquiao, pero si es lo contrario, que gana Mario Barrios, va a demostrar que es el mejor.
It's one thing when analysts disagree over a fight. It's another when legends, men who felt Manny Pacquiao's speed, endured his angles, and weathered his storm, can't find consensus. That's what makes this different. For the first time in years, Hall of Famers, world champions, and even fighters who've stood across the ring from Pacquiao are divided. And that divide has the boxing world leaning in. This isn't just another comeback. At 45, Pacquiao isn't chasing a paycheck, he's chasing purpose. He's stepping into the ring with Mario Barrios, a younger, hungrier fighter who's been quietly climbing the welterweight ranks with a blend of pressure, patience, and punishing power. On paper, Pacquiao's legacy dwarfs Barrios. 8 weight divisions, dozens of Hall of Famers left in his wake. But boxing doesn't care about resumes, especially when age enters the equation. That's why this fight has split the greats. Each sees something different when they play the matchup out in their minds. Bernard Hopkins sees himself in Pacquiao, a warrior defying the clock, stealing rounds with ring IQ instead of raw speed. Marco Antonio Barrera perceives danger in the form of slower legs, diminished reflexes, and a young fighter eager to establish his reputation. And then there's Yordenis Ugas, the man who handed Pacquiao his most sobering loss, watching from the sidelines, hesitant to back the legend he once beat. That hesitation, that split, is what makes this fight so compelling. Because the predictions aren't just about who will win. They're reflections of what these legends value most: experience or momentum, legacy or hunger, the past or the future. This isn't just Pacquiao versus Barrios. It's a question of what triumphs when time becomes the toughest opponent. Up next, every prediction, every insight, and why even the greats can't agree on how this fight ends.
Pacquiao beat and position a lot of fighters with his feet and his movement. He has a dance rhythm when he attacks his target.
He closes that distance.
He's not flat-footed. He's here. He stays on his toes. He got a bounce to him. See,
if there's one legend who didn't hesitate to back Manny Pacquiao, it was Bernard Hopkins. And it's easy to understand why. Hopkins sees himself in Pacquiao, a fighter who refuses to let age define his narrative. In an interview with TalkSport, Hopkins praised Pacquiao's enduring speed, experience, and tactical mastery, insisting that even at 45, those tools could still be enough to outclass a younger, less seasoned opponent like Mario Barrios. Coming from Hopkins, this isn't just sentiment, it's experience talking. He was still winning world titles in his late 40s, defying the odds by outsmarting and outlasting fighters half his age. He built a second career not on brute force, but on ring IQ, discipline, and surgical precision. To Hopkins, Pacquiao possesses that same rare ability to turn knowledge into a weapon, long after most fighters have faded. Hopkins isn't predicting a knockout. His forecast is more cerebral, a decision win for Pacquiao based on control, movement, and angles. The goal isn't to overwhelm Barrios, it's to unravel him. Neutralize his pressure early, disrupt his rhythm, and make him doubt himself round by round. It's vintage Hopkins. And it reflects a belief that what Pacquiao still has matters more than what is lost. Sure, the legs aren't what they were when Pacquiao dismantled Oscar de la Hoya or dropped Keith Thurman in 2019. But Hopkins argues that experience, applied with precision, can neutralize youthful aggression. He doesn't need to outwork him, Hopkins said. He just needs to outthink him. But that belief raises a crucial question. Is Pacquiao still that kind of fighter? Or is Hopkins betting more on memory than present form? Either way, one thing is clear. Hopkins is putting his faith in legacy over youth, in craft over chaos. And for fans who still believe in Pacquiao's ability to turn back the clock, Hopkins just became their loudest, most credible voice. On the other side stands Marco Antonio Barrera, one of Mexico's most respected warriors and a man who once shared an era and a ring with Pacquiao. His view: the numbers don't lie, and the odds aren't in Manny's favor. In his own interview with TalkSport, Barrera was candid. He didn't dismiss Pacquiao's greatness. In fact, he spoke with respect. But his logic was grounded and unflinching. Age, inactivity, and Mario Barrios' relentless style tilt the fight away from Pacquiao. T45. Barrera says, it's not about whether Manny still has speed or flashes of brilliance. It's about whether his body can absorb 12 rounds of steady, youthful pressure without fading. Barrera knows the toll that younger fighters can take on aging veterans. He's lived it. And to him, Barrios is exactly the kind of fighter who can drag Pacquiao into deep water. Barrera didn't write Pacquiao off completely. He acknowledged that Manny still carries fight-ending power. But in a battle between experience and prime-time youth, Barrera sides with the latter. Barrios is in his prime, he noted, suggesting that hunger, stamina, and momentum will matter more than nostalgia or legacy when the rounds get long. What makes Barrera's stance so compelling is how deeply it echoes Mexican boxing values: aggression, volume, and endurance. Barrios embodies those traits, and Barrera sees them as the keys to victory. It's not a dismissal of greatness. It's realism. Legends slow down. And against a pressure fighter who won't stop coming forward, even a brief slowdown can be fatal. So, while Hopkins champions wisdom and legacy, Barrera raises the banner for youth, will, and physical dominance. Neither man speaks lightly. Both speak from experience. But they see two very different fights, and that contrast is what makes this matchup so compelling.
Activo, es el campeón actual. No es tan complicado como los campeones que hay, pero arriba del ring se va a volver peligroso. También hay que recordar, Mario Barrios fue el que le ganó y retiró a Ugas. ¿Qué pasó con Ugas? Ugas fue el que le ganó a Manny Pacquiao. Es una matemática que no sale.
Sugar Ray Leonard didn't pick a clear winner like Bernard Hopkins or Marco Antonio Barrera, but his insight may be the most revealing of all. Speaking with TalkSport, Leonard emphasized that if Manny Pacquiao wants to win, it won't come down to speed or footwork, it'll come down to focus. For Leonard, the real battleground isn't physical. It's mental. This fight, in his view, isn't about whether Pacquiao still possesses the fastest hands or the sharpest angles. It's about whether he can mentally prepare, body and mind, to stay disciplined for 12 grueling rounds against a younger, fresher opponent. Leonard knows the difference between fighting for nostalgia and fighting with purpose. He's lived that line. His words suggest that Pacquiao no longer needs to rely on athleticism to succeed. He needs to outthink, outtime, and outmaneuver. Leonard stressed the importance of sharp timing, smart shot selection, and strategic energy conservation. If Pacquiao can manage the early rounds wisely, he may still have enough in the tank to make a push late. Leonard didn't ignore Mario Barrios' strengths. He acknowledged that Barrios, in his physical prime and fighting with a high work rate, poses a serious threat, especially if Pacquiao lets the pace slip out of his control. But Leonard's tone wasn't skeptical. It was cautiously optimistic. He's seen what true greatness looks like. And more importantly, he knows that legends, real legends, can sometimes summon something special when everything is on the line. In Leonard's eyes, Pacquiao remains one of those rare fighters. A man who, even at 45, might still find one more extraordinary night hidden inside his legacy.